You wanted it, you asked for it, now here it is. Today we're going head to head with the ZTE Warp and the contender, Samsung Transform Ultra, both available now from Boost Mobile. We're going to take a look at an in-depth review on both of these phones, see which one wins, which one fails. Round one, fight! Okay, so I'm not going to go into too much great detail with the ZTE Warp since that is actually mainly covered in the other video. But I did receive my replacement device to this phone because this one is actually defective and it's now the second one that I've received. This is the Samsung Transform Ultra. It's a very, very decent phone. I actually prefer the slightly smaller screen size. As you can see, there is quite a... The kitty cat. Okay, back to things. Both phones are very, very solid, but there's a big difference in screen size. As you can see, the ZTE Warp definitely wins in this category. However, you can see that the ZTE Warp's colors are just a little bit softer, a little bit more washed out. This Samsung Transform Ultra has got a bit more vibrancy as far as the colors go, but you're going to have a little bit of a smaller display to contend with. This one is a 3.5 and this one is a 4.3. This is prettier, this is more pocket friendly. I am pleased to announce that you can bring back your tight jeans with this particular phone. Most of this review is going to be about the Transform Ultra, so we're going to go ahead and put the ZTE Warp to the side for just a moment. Alright, let's have a look at this phone here. This is a QWERTY slider. When you slide it open, it reveals 4 rows of QWERTY keys that are a bit flat, but do have a clicky feel sensation to them. And apparently my cat likes a lot of camera time. Sliding it closed, let's take a look at this device itself. On the top row, you've got a headphone jack. You've also got a power button on the right-hand side, which I prefer. The whole thing is encircled by this chrome band. Very, very nice touch. On the sides, you've got a volume rocker. On the other side, you have a dedicated camera key. On the bottom, you've got your microphone and micro USB charging port. And on the back, you've got a 3 megapixel camera with a flash and speaker. Now, you probably can't see this back. It has this sort of checkerboard pattern on there. It looks really nice. This phone slides in and out of pockets very, very easily. Let me go ahead and show you something. I'm going to do the slide test. I don't think anybody else is reviewing these, but take a look at this. Sorry, kitty, I need to do a review here real fast. Alright, so if we go up here, this is the ZTE Warp. Alright, this has got the back that everybody hates, but it is a little bit rubberized. You can't make an indentation in it with your finger, but check this out. Alright, I'm going to put my hand on this plane here. Phone stays pretty good. It's got a little bit of hang time there. Now I'm not going to move my hand. Watch this. This phone doesn't even stay at all. That is because this material is not rubberized. It is just a hard plastic. It is very, very, as phones go nowadays, very, very thin. Nearly paper thin, just a couple sheets thick of paper, really. Do the flex test here. Yeah, pretty chintzy. So, not the best. I would have preferred a different back, but can't have everything, I suppose. As far as the battery department, it's got a pretty good battery. It's a 1500 milliamp battery. You got a place for your micro SD right here. Now this, in comparison to the ZTE Warp, this one has actually got a little bit of a smaller battery to it. But in some tests that I've run, I found that this one actually runs quite a bit longer. This one, or this particular phone rather, it just does not seem to exhibit the same phone drain as the ZTE Warp. As you can see, this curve isn't quite as steep. I'll orientate it this way so you can see it a little bit better. I'm laughing because my kitty cat is ruining my video. So, as you can see, this is just with normal use. I have been using the phone quite a bit. And it really hasn't fallen a whole lot. So unlike the ZTE Warp, maybe that could be attributed to the fact that this display is only a 3.5-inch display. So it is a little bit more cramped, But you're not going to have to worry so much about that, because this display, as a matter of fact, happens to be a whole lot more accurate, so I've noticed, when compared to the ZTE Warp. Both phones do feature a little indicator. On the ZTE Warp it's up here, on the Samsung Transform it's up here. They feature an indicator that'll tell you when you have a waiting voicemail or text message, which is pretty nice. But the Samsung Transform Ultra absolutely 100% wins in this particular category, just because of the fact that it's an actual light, not a wannabe light, which is in the ZTE Warp. You can hardly see this one, as opposed to this one you can see across the room. So, extra points for the Transform Ultra. Now, both phones do have a 1 gigahertz processor. However, you're going to notice very, very different performance coming out of each particular phone. What I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to load up a bunch of applications here in the memory. So let's do some Apocalypse, we'll do some Angry Birds. I'm going to load up as much as I can and then see which phone. Now the ZTE Warp does seem to load just a maybe split second faster, but I am not losing responsiveness here on the ZTE Warp. None of the buttons are working. Okay, so the ZTE Warp now is going to... I'm still getting sound out of it, but the power button is not waking it up. Okay. This one is more expensive. This one has less memory. There is a couple things that are not quite as powerful on this phone, including the battery. However, this one does have a front-facing camera, which is really, really nice and works extremely well with Skype. The ZTE Warp, on the other hand, has just become a zombie. See if we got any responsiveness yet. Nope, nothing. The Samsung Transform Ultra. Very, very decent phone. I recommend it. This ZTE Warp is more unreliable than a prediction from Harold Camping. It is completely frozen. Can't even start it up. However, a funny thing that I didn't highlight in my last video, the developers of this particular phone actually did include a nifty little function for all the times that you're going to have to reset this phone. Right above the camera key is a little micro switch. You hit that switch and your phone comes back to life. So what do you know? So that's an actual resurrection switch. Very interesting. I've never seen that in a phone before. However, this phone still fails epically because once you put on the back, there is no way to get to the switch. And of course, you're going to be pulling the back off many, 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 many times per day. So, in review, Samsung Transform Ultra, in my opinion, beats out the ZTE Warp. Just by a little bit. If you don't mind resetting it all the time, get this phone. This thing is colossal. It'll impress your friends. You're going to have to throw away your tight jeans. This phone, on the other hand, is very reliable. It's a little bit more for the business-minded person, I suppose. Very reliable keyboard. This has actually got a stronger speaker, just by a little bit, than the ZTE Warp. I do feel the notifications could be a little bit louder with this particular phone, but it's a minor gripe. So, that being said, this has been a hands-on review. The ZTE Warp versus the Samsung Transform Ultra. I'm Hollywood Mike, aka MCAT2006. Minnie Mail the Kitty Cat. So both of these phones do handle software really good. I got a special treat for the kitty cat here. Oh, kitty, look. Oh, this is Kitty Meow Meow's favorite game. Kitty.